Well, hello and welcome to this week's video on the Resto Saga Classic Car Restoration YouTube channel. Something slightly different this week. Yes, we're back at the Toylander, but I want to give you a bit of an overview of everything that I've done to it so far, what the current plan of action is and what's going to be coming up in the future. Garage is empty at the minute. MG has been getting quite a lot of use recently, so it's outside needing a bit of a wash. So the Toylander started a couple of months ago. Started by buying, obviously, the plans from Toylander themselves. The plans were £50, plus postage on top of that. And if you've been keeping up to date with this build, you'll know that they are very detailed, give you details of all the wood cutting, metal fabrication, all the way through the build. By my reckoning, I'm about a third of the way through the build of this Toylander, and this is for my wee son, who's currently 18 months old. But I'd imagine this will hopefully be finished by next Christmas is my aim, so that'll be on his way to him then. So what I started off by doing was buying 2 sheets, that's 8x4, 8 feet by 4 feet, of this 12mm marine ply. And that is what I've used the whole way through the build so far. Each sheet was about £50, £45, I can't quite remember now, so total cost in wood there, just shy of £100. At the same time, I also borrowed my mum's jigsaw, which is in that black case there, and also bought plenty of spare blades. And when I bought that, I didn't realise there were 2 different types of blades. There's the fatter ones there, and then there's the wee skinny ones here. And the wee skinny ones are for using to cut round corners, logically enough. But it is important to have the 2, because if you try and cut a straight line with a skinny blade, you'll find your blade will wander. After I'd done that, I marked out all the panels outlined as per the plans on the ply and cut them out, and I had a big pile of panels, as you'll probably have seen in the first few episodes. First of all was the chassis, which also forms the floor, runs front and back. Sorry, this is not screwed in yet because I haven't quite decided the angle of it. So that was the chassis. After that came the sides. These were probably the most pressure to get those right, I think, because really it's going to pick a massive impact, visual impact, if they're wrong. Having to get the consistent radius cut to fit the wheels in and make sure that both sides are identical. So I made one side and then drew around it to make sure the same was done on the other side. Then other panels were cut, bulkhead, front panels, wings, the whole lot were all cut out using the jigsaw and a handsaw. Got fairly good at making making radii with the jigsaw, and I've also used various drill bits that I'm not used to drilling or using to make things like this slot here. Using, I think it's called a Forstner bit, so that was good fun. This was the most difficult panel to do, mainly because there are plenty of holes needing curves cut, so getting my radii there and making it a nice tidy job. Annoyingly, as I worked around the vehicle, I really did find that the marine ply was chipping. It does, there's an example there, it does peel a wee bit, so that's annoying. So there's going to be a bit more filling work needed before I paint this. But that's really how far we've got, as you can see just at the minute. Now, if you look at the front, there is a mistake. I'll give the game away. This PTO hole should be on this side, because if you look around the back of the Toylander, the PTO hole is on the left hand side of the vehicle, facing forwards. So I'm going to have to take that little panel off and flip it around. Thankfully I haven't glued that, so that is handy enough. These here were quite weren't difficult to make, just time consuming. These are your bumper dumb irons, which are screwed but not glued into the inside of those closing panels here. How to make those? They're made in 3 sections and then sanded and filed down to size, so both are matching. And it also means that when this is filled and painted, that you get a nice smooth, broad looking beam, I think is the aim. Other things to mention, my batten, which I've used throughout the build, recommended by Toylander, that is 19 by 19 mils. Unfortunately, I could not find 19 by 19 mil anywhere, so it is 20 by 20, but I don't think that 1mm is likely to have made a difference, especially given the fact that I have been using a jigsaw by hand to cut out everything, so there probably has been a degree of error throughout. These beams here were the only wood that was of a different size really, other than the battens and the marine ply, and those are structural inner sills, as recommended by Toylander. And my trusty little picnic table has done the job admirably throughout. So, thinking of going forward then, everything's screwed down, largely. The seat bottom is not screwed down, neither are the backs, but I'm going to hold off. They are fitted, dry fitted as such. Just line that up. They are dry fitted to allow check of fit and finish, and they will be painted whenever I'm painting everything else, but I'm going to leave them off so access to motors, fabricating axles and so on is as optimal as it can be. Obviously I live in Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom, and we drive on the right hand side of the, well, the steering wheel is on the right hand side of the car, we drive on the left, so this is going to be a right hand drive car, vehicle, Land Rover, whatever you want to call it. So that is why this little hole is on this side, and then there's a little slot to allow the steering column to come through, if in case you're wondering that. So yeah, as I said, next steps, what I'm going to do is put an order into Toylander for the little preformed aluminium sections. It's like a quadrant that goes over here to allow you that nice curve of the wing, and those are going to be fitted in there. I'm also going to, those are £8, I believe, for the pair. Hopefully not £8 each, but I think they're £8 for the pair. They go there. And then the bonnet. I don't have the skills to form an aluminium bonnet and actually make it look nice, so I'm going to buy the bonnet from Toylander and cheat a bit on that, because I think really the visual appearance is what this is going to determine the quality of this finish. So I'm going to buy the bonnet. I think that's about £30. So £40, and then it has to be posted here to Northern Ireland, which is always a little more expensive. So that's the next step, buy the bonnet. Really the bonnet can wait. The more immediate problem is to get those wing ends on. That will allow me to work my way around it, do a bit of filler. Obviously you're going to have to fill in where the top of these screws are. There is a slight ridge. If I bring the camera down here, there's a bit of a step there, which is unfortunate. But I'm hoping to be able to put a nice thin layer of skim of filler just to fill the tops of the wings, because those are going to be the most obvious flat surfaces besides the vehicle sides. Once the filling is all done, then it's going to be moving on to paint. Toylander themselves have an agreement with Paintman. I'm not sure if you're aware of him, but he does supply a lot of enamel paint for full-size Land Rovers, and I plan to use him whenever I come to restore my own Land Rover. But they actually provide a kit of everything you need to do your Toylander, all in their appropriate colours. In fact, they can do any colour you want. And their kits include the enamel paint, thinners, primers, wood sealants, sandpaper, brush painting, the whole works. So tempted by those. They're a little pricey, to be honest, but if it gets you everything you need in one packet, that's hard to argue with. So that's next. Once the body is painted, I would hope to maybe move it down to a storage shed and focus on building some axles. From what I've read in the instructions so far, I don't think the axles are too difficult to build. They seem to be box section steel, but I'm looking forward to fabricating those, because I do enjoy a bit of welding using my Clark 135TE MIG welder, and I've done a bit of welding for Dad and so on recently, so got my eye back into it after doing the Morris Minor Weldathon, which you can also find on the YouTube channel here. So then it'll be on to the fabrication. Other expensive things I'm going to have to buy are the motors. They are quite pricey, and yes, I know you can take them out of a mobility scooter, but really I want this to work and work well, so I'm probably going to buy Toylander's original items from that. I'm going to try and make my own things like windscreen and my own body fittings and so on, but motors they're pretty critical to make this work well, so that's going to be a big bill. The only other thing to mention, specialist woodworking skills supplied by my brother-in-law, who is a joiner, who routed the edge of this panel very nicely. You can actually see the curve there, just to make it look like an actual Land Rover, and actually routed this edge as well. So there you go, that's the Toylander up to now, what we're doing at the minute and what we plan to do soon. If you'd like to keep up to date with this, hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon as well. Hit like in the video, and I reply to every single comment that I receive, and always appreciate constructive criticism because I am learning throughout this process. More videos coming along very soon on the MG, Morris Minor and Land Rover, and we are approaching our 100th video here on the channel as well. That's very exciting. So please hit subscribe, like and comment in the video. Catch you again next week. Apologies, this week's video went out a little bit later than normal, but I've had a bit of a bonkers week with work and so on. So hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you again very soon. See you later.